Welcome, everybody, to another episode of You Learn, You Turn. Today we have Hamilton, Mags, and Fronzie Roemer, and myself. And today we're going to be talking about sort of a sad subject, but also a happy subject because anytime we talk about mental health of our youth, it's sad where we are, but we're also trying to do better. And then to couple that with animals, with dogs, is just a dream come true for me and for Hamilton because we're both dog lovers. So I really don't want to tell your story, but just Paws for Patrick is the nonprofit that you guys are involved with or started. And so, Fronzie, maybe we'll start with you. You're Patrick's mom, and tell us a little bit about how you started Paws for Patrick, what it means to you.
Well, my son Patrick, he lived with mental illness for most of his life, and depression and anxiety is mostly what he experienced. And when he was in high school, it got debilitating, where he couldn't leave his room. But even in his darkest days, he was always happiest when he had his animals nearby him. And he had one dog, was his, Cece. And when he had to go to a residential care facility, the thing that really motivated him to get home to us was not only to be home with his family, but to be home to his dog, Cece. We had another dog and two cats. But it was truly, we believe it saved his life for many years. We got to have Patrick in our lives for that many more years. Unfortunately, on the first day of Patrick's senior year of high school, his dog Cece died tragically, suddenly. And it was really hard from him from then on out. And after the pandemic hit, we had a great time together as a family. We really just embraced those times together. We actually had a pet Olympics during the pandemic, which was lots of fun. But he had a really bad day in May of 2020, and he died by suicide. So the community really rallied around us, and we wanted to do something with their generosity. And so we created Paws for Patrick because we know how the animals really saved Patrick and were such a comfort for him. So we wanted to help provide that to other people.
Francie, I don't know how much of this you want to go into, but thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that's difficult to talk about, and I'm so glad he had CC as well. Was he an emotional support animal then, or just not legally, but he was just your dog that he was very close to?
Well, he was his emotional support animal, but he did not have an emotional support. He didn't have a certification letter because he was living in our home and we didn't need one. But
Okay.
he was planning on going to college in the fall, and I was starting to look into. We had gotten him a new dog, Indy, and I was starting to look into the process of how he could bring
Oh my
that
God, that's
dog.
one of my dog's names.
Oh, really?
Well, Indigo. We named her right after my mom died, and my mom's from South Carolina, and indigo is the color of the state flag. So, but we call
Oh,
her
wow.
Indy, we call her Go-Go, we call her a million different things. So,
Is she black lab by any chance, or
she's
shelter?
she's a pain in the butt sheepadoodle that I love dearly. She's the only female dog we have, and I won't tell you what we really call her because we're trying to be polite here. But she's phenomenal.
So, Ronzi, when you say he went to, just because I'm trying to also, we have a lot of people who listen to our podcast who are struggling and who have family members who are struggling, and parts of your story will resonate with them. When you say you went away to a
Residential
facility,
facility.
yeah, what was that? Was that for mental health?
Yeah. So when he was a freshman in high school, he just stopped leaving the house, leaving the room. We tried some day schools that were specialized in mental health. And we tried an online school before it was a thing, and we could not nobody could get him to leave the house during the day. So he was taken out of our home and sent to Montana, and lived in a home with other young men that were living with depression and anxiety. So
did he take medication? Did y'all go that route? I bet you tried everything.
We did. We tried so many things. He started medication when he was in 6th grade. And then his first attempt at suicide was when he was a freshman in high school. And then they just sort of like played games with his medication. It feels like I can't bring myself to throw those pills away. But the bin of pills that I have of the different kinds of medications they'd put him on, and then that same day they'd take him off of it and put him on something else. And I mean, it was all these crazy things. We went the holistic route where he had his blood drawn to see where he had toxic levels of certain things. And so we were fermenting yogurt in our home.
God, it
was
Mags, you're shaking.
and we make smoothies with it every day. Yeah, I would make the smoothies every day with the yogurt for him, and I had to gag. It was so gross.
It smelled bad?
It stunk up our entire fridge.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, you had to ferment it.
And it didn't work.
In the living room, yeah. And he would only let Mags make his little concoction. So, it didn't seem to work because of all the other steps that we had to go in for him to just even eat it. It may have been a great route, but you have to stick it in your mouth, swish it around, and it's like eating nastiness every day.
So, Fronzie, you guys, it's always hard having these discussions because we don't want to say anything wrong. We obviously are honored that you guys are sharing this with us. I want to ask Mags a question. Mags, what's the one thing about Patrick that I've done some research, so I knew he was a workout fiend. I'm actually pissed off that he was in better shape than I am today. But
me too.
Mags, what do you when you remember Patrick, what things do you think about that make you just so excited and happy?
So excited and happy. That's a beautiful question. That's never how I've had that question phrased. I just think of how caring of an individual he was. In those moments, days after Patrick's passing, we had so many people just in and out of our house. And this was also our first human interaction in quite a while because it was in the midst of COVID. But a lot of Patrick's friends came over, and even friends I didn't know existed. And they just told us all these stories of times he would he drove to some random train station in the middle of the night to pick someone up, or someone was having a really bad night and he was out there in the pouring rain just sitting with them, or woke up super early to drive some girl to get cotton candy grapes at the grocery store, and just all these little things where he just cared so much about every person he was surrounded by, and an amount of caring for an individual that I can't even fathom. I wish I could. I strive to, but still working on it.
That is so beautiful. And for those of you that are listening to the podcast and not seeing us, you're not going to get what I'm about to say. But Mags and Fronzie, can you see how much we love dogs? Do you see over Liz's right shoulder?
Yeah.
That's Hazel.
That's
She
Hazel.
partake in the podcast.
And then Mags, I'm going to reverse this question. What makes you angriest when you think about what has all played out? And I'm not talking about Patrick specifically, but is there something in the community, the stigma associated with this, that just really pisses you off?
There's so much. Where my mind automatically went, though, I talk about this day a lot. So I don't know if Mom, you've definitely heard this, but it was this one day Patrick came home and just lied face down on the floor and was crying, and I sat there with him, and I didn't know what to do, but he started talking, and he was like, my teacher just called me stupid, and my teacher was yelling at me, and they don't get it. And that broke my heart like no other. Being able to see how much pain someone can be going through, and then hearing that people just don't understand the reality of that, and that you're not just being disrespectful. Like, people living with mental illness are in pain and like they're trying their best, and then to hear that there's these people who are supposed to be taking care of like students and they're making them feel worse, it upsets me so much. And it happens so often.
It
Like,
does.
it's happened to me, it's happened to my friends. Like,
When Patrick was
it's horrible.
when Patrick was in Montana, we were in a therapy session, a family. It was my husband, Patrick's dad, and me and Patrick and his therapist. And his therapist had said, "So you're here with people who have broken families, or they've suffered trauma, or they, and she listed things, but that's not your story. So why are you like this?" And like, yeah, a therapist. And thank God for my husband, because he's like, that's not to say your feelings aren't real. But like, even in the field, they don't understand it.
Gosh.
Yeah.
No, and Fronzie, that's why we created U-Turn Health. I want to make, if anybody is listening that is a clinician or does traditional treatment, let me make this very clear. We believe in all that stuff. We believe, I mean, look, Liz and I both got sober by being abstinent. I don't drink anymore. But that's not everybody's journey, and that's not everybody's path. And that's the problem. I think people are trying to do the right thing, but we have this black and white view of the way people get better with either mental illness or substance use disorder. There's an approach. If Mags was struggling today, we would say, Mags, it's very simple. Here's what you need to do. Follow this guideline and you'll get better. And it's really scary. It's just really scary stuff. And that's why we created this company, is because we believe that there's multiple pathways to getting better. It does. I mean, I always say this. How many of you, I guarantee you guys know someone that, let's just talk about drinking, that drank too much and then they got in, and Fronzie, I know you're a big workout person. They either get into working out or they get into religion and they don't drink as much. What's wrong with that? Like, why do we care? But the recovery community would say, well, that person's not sober, so blah, 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 blah. And we just think we have to treat people as human beings and we'll get where we need to get.
Yeah. Every person's so different.
Right.
They are. And, the stigma with mental health is that I really know she won't mind me sharing this, but we're going through this with my daughter right now. And she, yesterday was a really bad day. And she said, like, I know I have a loving family. I have a roof over my head. I'm in graduate school. I have It doesn't matter. I am so sad. I don't want to ever get out of bed again. And to hear her say that, like, it's not something you can snap out of. I know people were probably telling Patrick, like, snap out of it. You cannot. It is, if it has a hold on your brain, and I don't know all the science behind it, but it is, she said, there's a logical side to me that knows I'm supposed to be happy. And then there's me who can't be happy no matter what I do. I feel like I have a cloud following me around. And it's so I just relate to your story so much. I mean, I feel like this is a therapy session for us. For you.
Yeah.
But so all right. So that happened and everyone came around and you wanted to, great questions for Mags, Ham. In fact, you could even ask those of Fronzie if you want to do that before we move forward to talk about Paws for Patrick.
What do you remember that makes you smile the most about Patrick?
Well, since Mag said his empathy for other people, I will say his, just his warrior, because we both enjoyed fitness so much. It was a treat to challenge him physically and enjoy it with him at the same time. It was amazing what he could do when he was determined to do it. I miss those, watching him wrestle and stuff like that. Hardest?
The hardest.
Well, so the things that make me angry is when I think about the people my age who had kids, same age, who would say, just like we were talking about, you just need to do this. He just needs to do this. You just need to do that. and we're talking to so many professionals, trying everything, and is that all we need to do? Okay. I didn't realize that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and it just breaks my heart that we did all these things and we couldn't help him.
So you're bringing up a lot of stuff that's making me want to ask a lot of different questions. Number one, Mags, you mentioned that after Patrick died, that you had tons of people come over, which is phenomenal. My question is, because we always say no one brings you a casserole when your kid gets diagnosed with mental health. Like I say my son, because I don't have a son, but if my son got diagnosed with cancer, I guarantee you 30 people would show up tonight with casseroles and throw their arms around me. But if my kid gets diagnosed with mental illness or heroin addiction, no one shows up. Was it similar for you guys, or were there people there with you through the journey?
I'll answer.
Either one.
So people were there for us when he passed away. When he was living with depression and anxiety, I had a small group of friends that I could talk to, but it was much more private. But when he passed, we were very open about it, and we didn't sugarcoat it. He died by suicide, and one of the benefits of this happening during the pandemic is that we were able to grieve in a way that we needed to grieve. We could have a lot of alone time, but also for his memorial service, we did like a YouTube live, or not YouTube live, like a premiere showing. So it was I can go back and see it anytime I want, but also we shared a lot of stories. It was not a traditional service, and just tried to reach the community. And I think that was probably why, because we were very open about it.
That's great. And then did you guys have support for yourself and Mags as you were going through this? And here's what I mean by that. One of the things that our model does is we believe in the power of people that have lived experience. So if you guys had to come to us while you were going through this with Patrick, Mags, we would have given you another Mags, another sister that has a brother that's living with this type of stuff. Somebody for you, Fronzie, and your husband that has been through this journey to listen, to motivate, to navigate, not to tell you what to do, but really to be there to support you because they've lived through that. Where I think you guys could provide great advice and motivation and knowledge to family members that are living with this as well. Did you guys have anybody like that?
Mags?
I think that you probably did. I know that there are individuals. I never have really thought about this though. I did not. And I think that a lot of that was also just like me perceiving and like seeing and understanding and being impacted by the stigma that exists, that I didn't have great friends at the time. Like in middle school, I didn't have good friends, but I didn't talk to them about any of this. And what you brought up earlier, like if my brother had cancer, they would have known. Yeah. But nobody knew, and I definitely minimalized the impact it had on me in my head already. So
You're talking about his illness, right? Not his death?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is Mags, go back, and I apologize. I don't know how many years ago he passed away, but go back to when Mags, you were younger and Patrick was alive and he was really struggling. Yeah. How cool would it have been to have someone that's around your age that could have called you on a daily basis or texted you and said, how are you doing today? How's Patrick doing? Is there anything I can help you with? I've lived through this. Like when you're laying on the floor rubbing Patrick's back while he's saying, I don't know what to do. They could have said, I've been there. I've done the same thing with my brother. I want to be here to support you through this. That's what we do. Yeah. Yeah.
That is amazing. I did not have that. And that would be amazing. It would have been so great. And even now, like, I definitely, like, I'll talk to people who have experienced the outcome, like the negative outcome of death from mental illness, but I never hear from individuals who have just a sibling living with mental illness and going through it then.
And I was lucky that I had 3 close friends that unfortunately for them, they had kids who were living with mental illness, and we would get together at least once a month, maybe twice a month, and just talk. And truly, it kept me grounded, and it helped me continue moving forward because I had that support.
Well,
But my
that
husband
is
did.
awesome. So, Max, don't drop out of college. But
Yeah.
if you ever want a part-time job, I guarantee you could help a lot of other people. So let us know.
Definitely will.
Tell us about Pause for Patrick. Tell us what you guys are, what the mission is. We, by the way, for everybody listening, Liz and I have already talked to your team, and we want to figure out a way to work together. So we're going to figure that out. But tell me what you're trying to accomplish and how the public that's listening to this can help.
So, I'm so excited to work with you guys, by the way. But so we connect young people living with mental illness to emotional support animals to help them as they live with their illness. And basically, we help them from the very beginning with an army of volunteers called Wish Granters. They get paired up with somebody who is looking for an ESA and walk them through every step from.
Well, tell the users what an ESA is.
Oh, sorry. An ESA is an emotional support animal, and that can be a dog, a cat, a bird, a snake.
A
Can
fish.
really be anything that gives you emotional support.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is when you look into a dog's eyes, there's a physiological response that is happening in your body, not only the emotional piece of feeling good being cuddling with an animal that's not judging you or whatever, but your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, lowers, and then your oxytocin, which is your love hormone, increases. And it happens for the dog too. As they're gazing into your eyes, yes, they actually feel the same benefits. So like every day I'm like looking at one of my dog's eyes. I'm like, just
I did
connect
not
20
know
seconds.
that.
Just look at my eyes.
Wow.
So yeah, it's such a powerful thing. So the wish granters help the person who's looking for an ESA, help them find a dog or cat or whatever the appropriate animal is. They talk to our therapist, or they have a letter themselves from their own therapist if they have it. But they just, we sort of want to do a vetting, making sure that it's the right call for not only them, but for the animal. And then we help with basic manners trainings if it's a dog. And we can also assist in for college kids with the living in a dorm, or if you're in an apartment that has a no pets policy, we can assist with that.
So what are the walk me through a little bit about, first of all, that is phenomenal. And walk me through, are there like rules and regulations with emotional support animals? Like, because I know that I know there's just a lot of red tape and stuff like that. So
each state's a little different, but there is, if you have an emotional support animal, and you get an ESA certification letter. That letter is really for you. It's the dog or the cat is not getting the letter. You're getting the letter. Right. And that will allow you to live in places that don't allow pets. Now, there are some loopholes there, like if it's an apartment building that I think has less than 2 residences or something, then the landlord can have some restrictions. And you can't go on a plane anymore with an ESA certification letter.
So how the hell do all these people on my flights have all their dogs on the plane then?
Honestly, I think if you have a service dog, you can go on a plane. And I have known people who have bought a service dog vest.
Yeah.
And I don't know the regulations. I don't think you can ask what the disability is, why you need the service dog or whatever. So I don't think people are asked.
Well, I'm going to find out. And Mags, I'm going to cuss right now, so I'm sorry, but that's bullshit. Because I see people on the planes all the time. But I will tell you, this is fun. There's a new airline called K9 Jets that you can fly private with your dog, and it's not very expensive. So what they would
Really?
do is,
Why
if
have we
all
not
of us were different families and we wanted to fly, you all get on the plane together, and there's like 10 dogs on there, and they fly you. It's awesome. K9
Oh
Jets.
my
I
God.
love
I
that.
can't believe we
Yeah,
have
you gotta look it up.
I will. That's
So
awesome.
how can well, and one other thing I want to ask, because your team told me this, most of the pets that people get, you try to get them rescues, right?
Yes, that was one of Patrick's passions. He always wanted to. It was one of his favorite places to visit, the animal shelter, but it was also,
Same.
yeah, I mean, it's really the best place, except for
Yeah.
I leave
It's
sometimes.
sad.
No, it's the worst place. I hate it.
I
It
used to
makes
go
me
there
so
every
sad because I
weekend.
can't rescue all of them. It
I
makes
know.
me too sad.
But
Yeah.
you get to give them those moments of joy. So you're
Oh, that's a
giving
good,
them
that's a good point,
temporary.
Mike.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So what do you need help with? How can, if somebody's listening today and they just have a buttload of money and don't know what to do with it, I'm sure you'll take their money. But is there anything else that the public can be helping you guys with?
Well, our Wish Granter program is an easy volunteer program for anyone, anywhere. And it's because of the internet. You can find dogs, you can find you can do all that research on the computer. You never have to meet one-on-one with the client. And we have clients in over 35 states. So we're all over. And you can have a Wish Granter in Chicago with a client in Alaska.
Right.
It's
So yeah.
Go ahead.
It's also just so timely flexible because you can be working full time all the time and still take on like one wish a month if that's all you can do, or like maybe you are doing 5 a week and that's what you want to do. It's so flexible for anyone that wants to do it, and I think it's one of the most powerful volunteer positions we have because you're connecting one-on-one with that person and you are like the one impacting and helping directly.
And
So you
do
feel
you
that.
guys need more clients or do you need more Wish Granters?
Yes.
Both.
Always.
Both. Yes. Both. We want to help as many people as we can. Wish granters, we can always use more wish granters. So yeah. And the training is real short and simple. They have to do a background check to be a wish granter. But if they didn't want to go through a wish granter process or a background check process, there are other volunteer opportunities that we have as well. We do an awareness campaign in May, Turn Your Child's Green or Turn Your Campus Green. We do both of those. And that's just tying a lime green ribbon around your tree to support Mental Health Awareness Month. So that's another way people can volunteer, getting different groups in their community to pass out green ribbon and help break the stigma.
Why green? Was that Patrick's color? Or is that the color of mental health?
Coincidentally, it was Patrick's color, but mental health is the lime green. Yeah.
And do you guys have any annual fundraisers or anything you do like that?
So we do Giving Tuesday. We have Patrick's Patrons, which is a monthly donation program. And then we also just had our first golf outing, and we have a gala in the spring. And those are both in the north suburbs of Chicago.
All right. Will you do us a favor and email Liz those links? We can tag it onto the podcast, or we can put it out on social media.
Absolutely.
And I'll show up at the golf tournament next year.
Can I ask for a humane, like our local humane society, if they want to get involved with you guys because they want to be able to offer dogs, how would they do that? How do you connect humane society with?
So when they contact us, we do have relationships set up with different shelters and organizations throughout the country. So we would our chairperson in charge of ESAs would get in touch with them, and that's sort of on a list of approved or preferred
sources,
agencies to work with. Yeah.
Okay, great. Good
I
to
got
know.
one more question. What's the dream? What's the dream for Paws for Patrick? 5 years from now, what do you guys want to be doing? Mags, I want you to answer that first.
Yeah. Well, logistically, psychiatric service dogs is one of the dreams, but I would say having people nationwide understand the benefit of emotional support animals and that like this is a common opportunity for treatment and that like it's just no one knows about it. Like it's crazy. I didn't know about this before Patrick passed. Like I just saw the effect, but like it's an actual thing and I want people nationwide to know that.
Yeah, it was funny, Fronzie, when you were talking about him going to treatment, my first thought was, why wouldn't they let him bring his dog?
Exactly.
They should,
Yeah,
without question.
They should. Yeah. So, and Magdalene answered that question beautifully. The only thing I would add is we would love to hopefully be able to help with facility dogs, getting dogs into schools, getting dogs into residential care facilities, so that there is one there all the time.
I have to say, I was in treatment in North Carolina, and there was one dog at the treatment facility, and the poor dog, we literally pet his hair off because we were so starved for just love and unconditional love that we were like, there he goes. And we'd chase him down. 30 women. So yeah, I mean, they need 5 in each facility for mental health and addiction, Yeah.
Max, have you heard of equine therapy?
Is that like, I'm not sure.
Well, since you had like equine therapy is where they actually use horses, and the horse is, and Fronzie, you seem to know a lot about this stuff. You probably know more than me, technically speaking, but for some reason, a horse can sense emotions unlike any other animal. So they'll do things where an addict will go up to the horse and they'll say, lift his paw up or lift his leg up. And he will try and try and try, but he's so angry and so irritated. The horse won't lift his leg. And then after working with him for a while, you can go up and the horse sees you relax and the horse will just lift his leg up. It's the most therapeutic thing in the world.
It's similar to like if you get a psychiatric service dog and you have when you're anxious, let's say you click your pen a lot. The dog can be alerted to that or can feel your blood pressure raising and will come and put their head on your lap, and which will trigger you to start petting it, and then everything lowers. It's absolutely amazing what these animals can do for us.
It is, and the only irritation is why the hell don't they live as long as us?
Right.
That's the only thing that drives me nuts.
Agreed.
Well, anything else you guys want to share? I mean, first of all, it's so nice to actually get to know Patrick, even though we didn't get to know Patrick. I mean, I went on your Instagram and I saw pictures of him and I saw your guys' journey. He sounds like just an amazing soul. And we're sorry for what you guys have dealt with, but we're really proud of you for all the great stuff you're doing. Anything else you guys want to share that we haven't touched on?
Gosh, I don't think so. Mags?
I'm always so bad at that, and I don't think so.
Max, how old are you, Max?
I'm
how old are
18.
you? Okay, you seem much older than 18, so you should be proud of yourself, dude. You've lived through a lot in a short time, and I'm very, very proud of all the great stuff you're doing.
Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to have discovered you guys as well. I mean, this is amazing. I wish that I had something like this, and it's so cool that you guys are doing this. It's awesome.
Well, we appreciate it. Fronzie, any last words from you?
No. Basically, she keeps stealing my words because your organization I'm so happy to know it now. It seems like, we need this in our country. And thank you for having us on here.
Of course. It's great to meet you guys. Liz, I'll let you close it up because you do a better job than me.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And if you want to find more about Paws for Patrick, we'll put all the links in the show notes. And Fronzie and Mags, it's been a great, great honor to be with you guys today. And thank you for sharing your story. You're inevitably going to help someone else. And so are the dogs. So dogs rule the world. We love dogs.
Yeah.